Good afternoon and welcome to the Israel Brief. Shavua Tov. It feels like ages since we have chatted, but that's because of the Pesach Chag. And just a reminder that the Israel Brief is brought to you by Lay of the Land, and we are very proud to bring you news Monday to Thursday directly from Israel. So it's the news to you directly right here in Israel. It might not be the press that you're going to get or the stories you're going to get in the mainstream media, but don't worry, we have you covered. And how is everybody doing? I know that for many of us, these holy days, whether they be Pesach or Easter, have been extremely difficult while we have been isolated from family, loved ones and friends. But always a reminder that Lay of the Land is here to keep you company, and we just want to remind you that no matter where you are in the world, we are all in this together, and hopefully we're going to come out of this together very, very soon. So without further ado, let's take a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel, and of course it dominates with the coronavirus. Now, Israel's current stats are as follows. We have 13,491 confirmed cases. This includes cases that have recovered and cases with other outcomes. Sadly, we have lost 172 people to the coronavirus, but today the amount of seriously affected as well as people on ventilators has come down significantly. We have 146 in serious condition and 104 on ventilators. We also have a significant amount of people who have fully recovered, and that is about 3,754. Now, because the trends here in Israel are slightly more positive, the government announced on Saturday night that we will be slowly starting to lift restrictions. And how we are is as follows. About 30% of the workforce is allowed back to the office as long as companies comply with social distancing norms and also are what they are calling purple badge proficient. In other words, if they meet the criteria that will allow them to open. And for companies who don't as yet meet the criteria, they will appoint a liaison who will take temperatures, who will maintain social distancing, will make sure that anybody who's feeling ill is sent home immediately. Anybody with a temperature over 38 degrees will be sent home immediately, and that the laws of hygiene and distancing are kept. Earlier today, it was announced that doctors performed a C-section on a seriously ill pregnant COVID patient. She is still in serious condition. However, the baby is doing fine, and the father is also in hospital with COVID-19. And we really pray that they make a full recovery and that their little one is fully okay and with her parents. Also, it was announced today that the areas with the highest rate of infections per capita are the areas of Deir al-Assad. It is an Arab village, as well as Bnei Brak. However, infection rates in Bnei Brak are starting to improve, and the restrictions there are lifting slowly as well. And some stores are open, not all, and it will remain to be seen how we progress over the next week or so, and if the trend continues to be positive, so more and more restrictions will be lifted. It was reported in the Jerusalem Post yesterday by a member of the Ministry of Finance that if the trends are positive by the end of Yom Hashoah, which is next week, we may see retail stores opening. So slowly we are lifting. However, the Prime Minister has warned that if our numbers increase and the numbers of serious or the strain on the medical fraternity increases, we will go back into lockdown. In other news, the immense frustration that Israel doesn't have a unity government yet. Last week, the mandate for Bnei Brak ran out of time, and despite his request to President Rivlin to ask for an extra 48 hours that was denied, and instead of the mandate being given to Prime Minister Netanyahu, it was given to the Knesset. However, Likud and the Blue and White have continued to meet, and we thought that this morning that they would have an agreement. This wasn't the case. However, Likud members say that they are continuing to negotiate with Blue and White members, and Benny Gantz has threatened that if an agreement is not reached soon, he will enact the law that will prohibit Prime Minister Netanyahu from forming a government due to the indictments that he is facing. And earlier today, Meretz, which is one of the far left parties, have said that Benny Gantz must resign as Speaker, otherwise they will not back the legislation to end the ability of Prime Minister Netanyahu to form a government. So there's still drama, but in the meantime, Israelis are very, very frustrated. The last thing that we want to see is a fourth set of elections in the space of just over a year. We have enough to cope with right now with the COVID-19 crisis and the effects on our economy as well as economies around the world. Now, very important, in a couple of hours, Israel will begin to mark our annual Yom Hashoah, Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Memorial Day. It's going to be profoundly emotional for many of us. It's the first time that Israel will mark this occasion virtually without any ceremonies around the country, and I'm not sure how we are going to manage that emotionally. At the moment, Israel has 189,500 survivors, and we have lost many around the world to coronavirus. Many of them are getting on in age, and we are fast running out of time where we will be able to hear first-hand stories from our survivors. This is a day that coincides with the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, and yesterday in the Gregorian or English calendar marked 77 years since the start of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, where brave Jewish men and women stood up to the murderous Nazi regime, and most of them paid with their lives. And we remember people like Mordechai Anelevich, a hero of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. But tonight and tomorrow is specifically for the Jewish victims of the Holocaust. It's a day that is separate to the UN International Day of Holocaust victims. This is specifically for Israel and for our victims. This doesn't mean that we forget any of the victims from any other groups, but we remember that Jews were specifically targeted from birth to the very, very elderly for annihilation. And because we won't be able to have ceremonies around the country, we will still have our siren at 10 a.m. tomorrow. One of the appeals we want to make to you is to look at the content that we have on our archives, on our Facebook page and on our website throughout the next 24 hours. But if you can, please visit sites like Yad Vashem and pick the name of one victim of the Holocaust and memorialize that person. Every person has a name. You can, through the Illuminate project, which is part of Yad Vashem, pay tribute to somebody who perished in the Holocaust. And our heads will bow later tonight, and our thoughts and our prayers are with all who perished, and may their memories be a blessing. Don't forget that you can see this content and all our content that is Shoah related on our website at www.layoftheland.online. We have two very interesting articles up that are coronavirus related. One is about a tremendous man, a 99-year-old one-man fundraising machine from the United Kingdom, Captain Tom Moore, who set out to raise £1,000 for the NHS. To date, he has raised £26 million by walking in his garden. We also have a brilliant article by Gina Raphael on the Argaman mask, which is a revolutionary face mask from right here in Israel. You can also check it out on our Facebook page at a Lotl site. Look out for our profile that looks like this. Give us a like or a follow, and don't forget that our growing family on social media includes YouTube, and we would love you to be a part of it. So look out for our channel at the Israel Brief and click on the subscribe button. So with today's headlines, I'm Rennie Marks. This is the Israel Brief.